the Draft Boyz. Oh shit, boys! Welcome back.
Here we
Episode
are.
1. Yes.
Game week 1. Welcome back to Draft Boyz, the FPL Draft podcast. As always, joined by Miles, Hito, and myself, Whitey. Lads, how we doing?
Oof,
You
good
doing
now
well,
that we're
mate.
here.
I know, mate.
Weekend of
Season
Premier
one.
League. So good.
I know, it helps with those lockdown blues.
Oh.
Yeah.
Certainly does. Certainly does.
Boys, I'm so pumped. That was great.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was an
Ready to go,
awesome
mate.
weekend, eh? We've got a
Oh,
lot to
my
talk
God.
about, eh?
I know, I think normally I go like, how you guys going? What's been happening? But obviously nothing's been happening. So I think we should just dive right into talking about how our teams went.
Yeah, let's do
Yeah.
it.
I
All
don't
right,
really
Hito,
want
why
to,
don't we
but
start at the
can.
bottom?
Yeah, I know. I don't really want to chat about my team, but a bit of a slow start for myself. Yeah, not much to really talk about. My pickup of Simicast was nice, jumping on that Liverpool clean sheet. And that's about all I really have to talk about, except
Oh, you got to be worried when you're talking about Simicast being your only highlight.
Mate,
Yeah.
you had Suchek. You had Suchek.
That's true. It's true. I did have that. I was happy with that little pickup so far, but I think my team will grow into the season. So we'll leave it with
I think so too, mate.
Yeah, just a solid 25 points to start the season.
I'm proud of you, Hito. You're putting up very consistent numbers from last season.
I know. I'm trying to start anew here, man. I'm trying to start new.
I know. All right, well, I'll go next, considering I'm the next best performer. Well, no, I'm a better performer than you. Whatever. Okay, yeah, so in defense, fairly solid. I got, a good haul from Pereira with his assist, 12 points there, clean sheet from Asp6, and yeah, then Sonny Boy got his goal, which was 10 points. Yeah, that was kind of the main highlights.
Yeah.
I got goals from both my strikers too, Calvert-Lewin and Ings, so pretty happy.
Yeah, juicy.
Yeah, a lot harder to.
Sorry, Miles, do you want an intro?
Well, you are the host with the most, but, I'll introduce myself. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Draft Boyz. Nothing's changed. The champ is here in first place again. I got a massive haul of 73 points, really good defense, capitalized by the Alonso pickup. Fernandez with that Hattie. What a last third goal as well. We'll talk about that later. 20 points there. And Antonio got 13 points in that awesome West Ham fixture. I will say I definitely look, it's a bit of like love and hate with this thing. I did some late night tinkering and I brought in Ben Rama at like 3:28 a.m., like 2 minutes before deadline. And I didn't have enough time to actually bring him onto my team. So I copped 12 points on the bench, but I'll take the player being in my team anyway. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, it was a nice pickup.
You can't forget a Cresswell on the bench there too, mate.
Yeah, I enjoyed the amount of points were on your bench. So
Yeah.
It's a good sign, though. I mean, I'm happy that they're on my bench and not on your team. So all good there.
All right, lads. Well, let's talk about a bit of snacks. Normally we do our snack chat and someone brings us a, beverage and a snack and we all rate it. But in lockdown, we can't really do that. So why don't we just run through with what we're snacking on tonight? Miles, why don't you head us up?
Yeah, I've actually got dinner in the oven, so I'm not snacking yet. But I'm just sipping on a little glass of red wine, trying to stay off the beers for the belly.
What variety there?
It's actually the same one as our last one. It's that Rabo de Gala. So it's a nice drop. I recommend it.
He's going back.
Hito?
Double dip. I'm just having a little cheeky glass of white wine, a bit of Pinot Grigio.
Wow,
delicious.
very
Pretty nice.
sophisticated.
Yeah,
Very
yeah.
sophisticated.
Likewise, I've got a dinner on the way, so keeping my stomach ready for that.
Well, I've
And
got
what
dinner
about
on
you,
the way
Whitey?
too, but I'm committed, So I've got just a drink and a snack. Fuck you, COVID. I've got myself a nice little Bolter here, one of my faves.
Oh, yeah. That's a strong one as well.
Very nice. Got a kick. And I've got some popcorn. It's the microwavable triple butter flavor explosion.
Oh, gee.
Oh, dude, they're too much.
Yeah,
I can't
talking
even
about,
eat that triple butter.
Dude,
That
Talk
triple
about
butter.
Marley G looking after his stomach. Why'd he just coming in with the triple butter?
Yeah.
butter. Butter me up,
Yeah.
now, boy. Yeah, I rate this a 10.
Yeah.
I bet you do.
Obviously. All right, why don't we dive right in? I'm looking forward to talking about this. It feels like it's been forever.
I know. Let's
It
do
does.
it. Let's jump into the game. So, yeah,
So
why
for
don't you
those-
take us through how we dive into it? Yeah.
Yeah. For those who don't know, usually we kind of do a blow-by-blow of each fixture coming up. And in doing that, we'll kind of review a bit of the games and talk about some players from the previous game week 1, that are looking good or performed well. And, any questions we're going to pose about our teams or players starting or not starting. So to kick us off, we're going to start with Liverpool versus Burnley. Liverpool played Norwich and won 3-0. And also Burnley lost 2-1 to Brighton after starting quite strongly.
Yeah.
Roll there. Hito, as our resident Liverpool supporter, why don't you tell us a little bit about Liverpool?
Well, so there's this little town in the. I'll go.
Okay, let me stop you there. I don't want to know anything.
I'll go faster than that. You ever heard of the Beatles? No. So we'll go to the game. We look good, to be honest. What you'd expect against Norwich. They came back up. They got a spanking, telling them to go back down to the championship. And yeah, it was nice to see some old faces come back into the team. So VVD in the starting lineup looked really calm. Definitely missed some of his skills.
We were
And it was
wrong,
nice to see
Hito.
them
Last pod we shit talked him.
What do you mean we
said-
shit talked him?
Oh, we said he'd manage minutes. I think it was more me saying a lot of this stuff. You kind of agreed.
don't put me
You
in that
kind of
bucket.
agreed.
Oh, I thought he would be, yes, eased in a little bit more, but I think, yeah, they've obviously come out firing. So maybe against a more chill team, he might get a rest next week. We'll see.
Milesy boy, you must be feeling a bit justified there.
Totally. I was actually a little bit confused why Hito didn't back me when you when you mentioned that about VVD, because I've been following his progress since before the end of last season, and I just kind of knew that he was really up for it. But yeah, so he did look really calm, and I really like having double Liverpool defense, and I think it's quite a strong strategy to have. So you'd at least want to have one Liverpool defender, because I think they're up for a lot of clean sheets. Other than that, what about Salah, boys? I think that he looks absolutely fire. I was actually hoping to get him as first pick. And, obviously I'm happy with Fernandes, but I think Salah is looking up for it, mate.
I'd agree. A bit of a loose first touch, though, there, leading to one of those goals,
It was pinged into him, though, to be fair.
I'm just trying to create some negativity.
You are. He's gonna be fire, and you've got to take advantage of that before it disappears in Jan for the Africa Cup of Nations. But yeah, the usual suspects. Nice start for Jota, which makes sense because the Brazilian boys getting a bit of a rest after their Copa. So I think we shouted out that he was a good option this year, regardless of starting or not. So.
What's with all these Liverpool goals coming from mistakes? Like the loose touch from Salah, the scuff shot from Mane. Like, come on, can you guys score well, please?
Mate, as long as it goes in the back of the net, that's all that matters.
Exactly.
Yeah. And when you got a beautiful man like Alisson in goal at the other end, just stopping clear chances from the opposition.
How does he keep that out?
Yeah, that was crazy. It was juggling.
That's beast mode.
That's ridiculous.
That's how you face down a man in your 6-yard box here. You commanding, hold your chest high and just stare him down with that beautiful face.
Face down, ass up.
That's it. Exactly.
Okay, my last comment here with Liverpool is Mo Salah is the first player to score in the first game week 5 times. So he scored in the first game week every time. he's played.
Yeah, that was a good stat to hear, eh?
Yeah, it's pretty impressive.
Boy loves
very
an opening
rewarding
game
to
week.
fantasy owners.
Oh, instant gratification. That's what he's there for.
Now, from a fantasy perspective, are there any question marks over this team? I mean, obviously Jota came in and Firmino didn't start.
I think there's.
What do you think?
Yeah, not really, to be honest. It's the usual suspects. The only shout out I'll make, obviously, Henderson and Fabinho are yet to fully come back into the starting 11, Henderson particularly. So there's potential opportunity for Naby Keita and Ox to fight over that third midfield spot. So I'd keep an eye on them.
Historically been a very, high scoring position.
No, it hasn't, but it's always, they've not often played there for very long periods of time. But now when Wijnaldum's gone, there's potential for someone to take that spot and add that spark, which he didn't maybe have as much in our team. So I'd just keep an eye on it, but nothing I'd jump on just yet.
Okay. Now let's talk about Burnley. Look, I'll take this one. They started with a goal from Tarkowski early on and then really just kind of gave it up. Brighton really took the game by the horns and, they lost 2-1 in that one. Wood seemed a bit quiet. What do you guys think?
Yeah, a bit of a slow start for them, for sure. They looked threatening from set pieces, though. A chance from me and Tarkowski again not long after their goal, but seemed a little bit quiet for them and looked a bit shaky defensively, letting Brighton come back.
They kind of started last season like that, but firmed up pretty well towards the end. Are you guys panicking if you've got... Do you have Burnley defense at all?
No, I don't this year.
Do you?
No, I don't have them either.
Me neither.
I think they will come. I wouldn't be panicking just yet with defence. But as we know, they're quite limited for fantasy picks. It's either defence mostly or Wood up front. But Westwood, obviously, on the set piece for goal coming in. If you've got a really deep league, that might be an option for you in midfield there. But I'd most likely stay away from Burnley outside of that.
I just wouldn't rule out that Ben Mee's just going to come back from this and just be fired up. We love
Yeah, he did get close to scoring. And what my usual strategy with Burnley is just let them start, get into the season. And then when I see a good run of fixtures, I just try to get on, one of those main defenders for that period of time. And then I just get rid of them. So for me, they're not long-term assets. They're just something to jump on when they've got a good run of fixtures and a bit of form.
Okay, let's move on. Next one. Aston Villa versus Newcastle. Now, Aston Villa lost 3-2 to Watford. A bit of a shock loss there for me. And then on the other side of this, Newcastle got beaten by West Ham 4-2 in what looked like a fucking awesome game.
It was a cracker. Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of caught up until 2-2, and I haven't seen the back end of it other than just in highlights. So, well, let's start at the beginning. We'll talk about Aston Villa's loss to Watford, which I'm sure shocked a few people.
Yeah, I think their defence looked really shaky for me. They just let Watford run at them. All 3 goals basically came from a counter-attack or a counter-attack type play with them running at them, not building up slowly with possession or anything. And they just looked so shaky.
Do you think that maybe they've suffered a little bit from lack of preseason games? I'm pretty sure they had the least games of any team. It was like 3.
Yeah, they did, didn't they?
Potentially.
Games. They haven't really had much time to gel together. So, for me, I'm not panicking. I'm a Martinez owner. And, it's the first game of the season. We'll just see.
Yeah, I think you got a lot of new boys like Buendia and Bailey both getting minutes, and potentially that wing back role maybe not being as confident yet to support in defence. That maybe that's why, but hopefully it's not a long-term thing because we know how good their defence can be.
For sure. And they've got Ashley Young looked like he played up front, in a wing position. So it'll be interesting to see what happens when Watkins is back and how everyone fits into that team.
There's your defensive issues tracking back. Old Ashley Young.
Yeah,
Old man.
Old man, bird poo. Okay. Newcastle now, like, I don't know, like, I let Saint Maximin. I'm just going to stop trying to say his full name. Saint Maximin. He yet again, like, he's an interesting guy. Like him faking like 10 shots on the byline there, crosses, sorry, and then finally crossing it in and getting an assist. I was like, how did that just happen?
Man, I don't know how he got away with that. That was ridiculous.
He was toying with them, and he did look kind of good. It looked to me like an old Mahrez kind of thing. Mahrez used to do those fake shots in the box at Leicester constantly.
Super exaggerated. Like it was just insane, the amount of time that they gave him. But then it's really hard when a player like that is doing it. You just don't want to go in for the challenge and award a pen to them. So, yeah, I thought Newcastle actually did fairly well in the first half. And yeah, you just got to say that, Wilson is, he's just so clutch. He just scores.
Yeah.
Yeah. That ball in was nice though.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was from Richie, I believe.
It was, yeah.
The one for Wilson was from ASM, and then the other one Murphy scored was from Richie though. But yeah, good shout for Richie there after talking about him the other week, even though he's in defence.
Thank you for the credit. Thank you. All right, now let's talk about Crystal Palace versus Brentford.
Yeah, I don't think we have to spend too much time on Crystal Palace. They really didn't have any of the ball. I think we just got to have a look at, a bit of a start for Mateta. Like we actually predicted that Vieira likes to play that younger team, and Benteke coming off the bench. If they don't score goals early, I think that might change, but we'll have to wait and see. But besides from that, I was pretty disappointed that Palace didn't try and get into the game, but I wouldn't give up hope on them yet. I think against the top 5 or maybe 6, they might just play like that. And against the rest of the teams, I think they'll go for it. So I think it's just going to be fixture dependent. But I think, that's about it.
Very early days for Vieira too. My popcorn packet is making a lot of noise.
But I think that's just a message as well, just generally. Like this is only the first game. There's still a lot of, things to happen and form to develop. So, I wouldn't be panicking too much. But I think we should give some Brentford some solid minutes here because they looked amazing. Beating Arsenal 2-0. Yeah, the new Leeds potentially. Arsenal were pretty superstar. They had a few names missing, but Brentford just looked fantastic. They were so lively. Obviously pumped to be in the Prem.
And
really,
that Sergi
really
Canos there was a nice goal. He had some decent statistics coming up from the league below last year. I personally thought about jumping on him and kind of went, just hold off. He's just, coming up. There weren't crazy numbers. I wish I did grab him now, but
yeah, I know.
That is what it is. And, the other guy that looked great to me, he didn't get on the score sheet, but Mbeumo?
Yeah, we spoke about him in pre-season.
Yeah,
he looked really good.
I like the look of him too. And I think just whilst we're on the roll, we're just chewing out players here for people to jump on. Like if you haven't been across this player, but their keeper as well, like getting a bonus point.
That save he made from Pepe's shot was fucking ridiculous.
He looked fantastic.
Ridiculous. So good. I actually rewound that 3 times because I was like, how did he actually keep that out? Like that's unstoppable usually.
He's going to see a lot of action though, and it's one of those things. I think we were talking about it the other week with some of the bottom of the league keepers like Meslier and all that. It's going to be whether he keeps enough clean sheets to go with all those save points, and whether he stands out enough in Brentford. There's not players that are going to outshine him for bonus.
Yeah, but it's an interesting option, I think, for that a keeper who's going to face a lot of shots potentially, and if he's looking good with saves, chucking a random clean sheet there, that's some. You can see it there. They look great, and he got the bonus.
And I think that their defense looked really good as well, and we just got to give a quick shout out to Pinnock. He had a really good game. And I think that he's got a little bit of attacking credentials as well. So he's definitely one on the watch list for sure.
Okay,
Definitely.
Leeds versus Everton. I'm cutting you boys off there. I want to start talking about this.
Yeah, cut us off anytime you want.
The
I love
old,
cutting you off.
the normal Leeds,
Well,
the
okay,
OG
yeah,
Leeds.
Look, this is what we expect. We're all roller coasters, or most roller coasters start at the bottom. They don't start at the top of the thing.
They got to take their time ticking up.
For like 20 minutes till they get to the top. So look, I wasn't expecting them to come out firing.
Or maybe 90 minutes in this case, not 20.
Yeah, exactly. So that was good, Hito. I didn't give you enough credit. That was nice.
Thanks, mate. Thanks for coming back to it, though.
So yeah, they obviously lost 5-1 against United. And then for our other side of this fixture, Everton beat Southampton 3-1. So let's talk about Leeds. I mean, Hito, there must be a candidate for, goal of the season.
There is, boys.
Yeah?
Oh,
He's going
yeah.
early this year.
Ailing,
Oh.
I'm pulling it out. I'm pulling it out early. First episode, pulling out the auto tune. Ailing with a powerhouse shot. That was ridiculous.
It was a laser. It was like,
Yeah. That was a bullet. I loved every second of that. Talk about
was
rewatching moments. That was a repeat goal for me back and over again.
100%.
100%. I completely agree. And you got to say as well, what about Dallas in the third? We've already got our first moment of the season. And, you got to give it to Bobs. He's gone Dallas in the third for a reason, boys. Gets on the attacking credentials.
Yeah, well done.
Mate, if assists come that easy every day, just laying it off to someone 25 yards out, I'll take it.
Yeah, fucking hell.
That's what he does. He finds a way.
Yeah, he's going to be good. It's just that it's not that 170, unless he steps it up this year. That's all you got to remember.
Yeah, definitely not.
I agree.
I think.
But yeah,
I think Leeds.
for all
just,
you go
you
on.
go, mate.
Fucking
you
zoom,
go,
mate.
Yeah, you zoom.
Yeah. No, I was just going to say, for all you Leeds owners, I really wouldn't be stressing about this result. Hold your players. Don't make an early trade too early on these guys because they're going to score you goals.
Yeah, and they're up against a team that we've called out are going to be up there for title contention this year. You'll remember that too. Just like, Palace obviously aren't as good, but they versus Chelsea. Like, it's going to happen. So
Yeah.
Leeds, I think Leeds also, they're missing Calvin Phillips in central defence.
I was going to say that. And he's so vital for them.
What's going on
in
with him?
midfield. Oh, he just played in the Euros. Sorry, I kind of jumped in and said central defence. I finished before CDM, central defensive midfielder. He obviously got probably a longer break. I'm not sure the full details on him, but I would imagine it comes down to just getting an extended break and being eased back in. So
100%.
That will help.
Should any of the Rapinha owners out there be a little bit worried after that game?
I'm not sure. I think
a little off the boil.
I'd still be waiting. Like, when we talk about form players to pick up, we want to see a bit of, something over a few games. One game, particularly one game at the start of the season, is so hard to make some big calls on.
I was going to say the same thing. I mean, it's the first game. They versed United. I don't think we need to say much more besides, I was going to say just on your Calvin Phillips mention, I saw a stat last year that Leeds actually didn't win a game without him. So I think him shoring up that midfield is what they need because they're so open. So it will change a lot.
Yeah, 100%.
Let's talk about Everton, boys.
Yeah, let's do it. We've got our first Zoom fuck up here. Whitey on mute.
I'm on mute, boys. I was trying to chomp on some popcorn.
We're joining the meme world of Zoom meetings.
You know what was so funny? I kind of just said, I said, let's move on. I kind of cut Miles off. And then he said it, and I'm like, okay. And then Hito said it. I'm like, fucking hell. Everyone wanted to say what's going on. And then I looked, and then I'm like, fuck, I'm on mute. All right, boys, I'm back. Everton, 3-1, Southampton. Pretty good showing for them after, we said maybe to be a bit worried, but granted it was against Southampton.
Yeah, that's the big call out for me. They looked really good, give them the props, but they are against a team that we'd shouted out that we're worried about this year. So TBC how that will pan out, but they did look good. So
Richarlison, how the fuck is he back already? Olympics finished 2 weeks ago.
I know. We'll see if that in the long run of the season comes back to haunt him.
It could. Yeah. He did have a few injuries last year.
On a little side note, how ridiculous did Decore look with his celebration? I was like, come on, man. Like, you've scored obviously 2-1 against Southampton. Do you really need to rip your shirt off and celebrate like that? It was like you won the title.
Whoa. Fans were back in the stadium, mate. They're living that up. And honestly, I loved that goal. It's one of those goals where, like, it got caught underneath him and he just, like, wriggled his way out and fucking booted it home. Mate. I would have celebrated like that for an extra 10 minutes.
Yeah. Pivoted.
I guess there's
on that ball in a way that Ross from France would be incredibly proud of. That pivot was beautiful.
I guess there's a lot of similarities between Whitey and Decore, eh?
Yeah, definitely.
Boys,
one I just want to add just quickly before we move off Everton is that there's obviously a lot going on in that team, but just a few glimpses from Townsend there. We know he has got a good left boot on him for a cross, and with some more better players basically to cross to than Benteke. I would just be watching that for me. I'm interested to just see how that develops with the likes of DCL, their defenders, Richarlison.
That's a really good shout. And, he is actually one that has one goal of the season before, so he would be one to watch.
Yeah, but there's obviously a lot going on in there already, so...
Well, you boys gave me a bit of shit for DCL, so I'm going to shout him out because I got him in the draft. He got a nice diving header there. Richarlison obviously got on the score sheet. Decore, as we said. Richarlison with an assist as well. So he's looking quite good right now. Now, I think we should move on to a bit of City versus Norwich.
Let's do it.
Fixture. Now, City played Tottenham and lost 1-0. And I think I heard the stat. Someone will have to give me shit if I get this wrong, but Tottenham have won their last 3 games against City at home. Anyway, not bad. And moving on, we've also got Norwich losing 3-0 to Liverpool. Let's circle back to City. The lineup. What did you guys think?
I think
he doesn't like Jesus, eh?
No, he really doesn't. He really doesn't. I don't know if he's been able to get away with having no striker again, and he was adamant to play it this season.
It could be a message to the owners just saying, I do not have a striker that I'm confident in playing. Buy me Kane. I don't care how much he costs.
Oh man, if I was Tottenham, I'd be asking for 170 now. How badly do they need him now?
Yeah, they just made 20 million off that game. Well, it was interesting to see, Torres up front, but it also meant that we got starts from kind of everyone that we were questioning. We weren't sure about Gundogan, we weren't sure about Grealish, we weren't sure about Sterling and Mahrez, where they're all going to fit in, and then they all ended up playing. Obviously, KDB is, one of the big question marks. He's not been playing, so he's still got to come in. It's whose spot he's going to take is the question. I think for me, it could even be Mahrez. Like, he didn't really create a lot in that game, and for me, didn't look at his best. And I think for someone who could immediately lose their spot, could be him.
It definitely could be. I think short term, Pep's got an easy decision because Gundogan has picked up what looks like a little bit of an injury, maybe a little niggle, and I don't think that they'll risk him in this game. So KDB might actually just fill in that position, which is actually a bit more natural for him. So until Kane, if he does come, I don't think we'll be seeing those big changes up front with City. I think he'll stick with it. And then, just what about, I guess just Cancelo. He looks pretty nailed on for me in right back.
Well,
Kyle Walker.
I can't believe you can say nailed on about any City player other than
You know me, mate. I get my goggles on when I own a player. They're just nailed on for me.
Just nailed on. Well, yeah, keep him in your team all season. Let's see what happens.
I
don't know.
I will.
We'll probably see that rotation come into play, but we'll see where that takes us. But I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with Grealish, because we know he obviously plays. He played the furthest forward left midfielder at Villa, whereas now he's sitting in that midfield three behind Sterling. I'm looking forward to seeing how that, or if it does change his game, not being the furthest forward attacker on the left.
Yeah, okay. No, I appreciate that. All right. Now, Norwich obviously lost 3-0. I wouldn't really expect them to do anything else. Timo kind of had an opportunity, which he put straight at Alisson. But like glimpses of something nice there. There was a start for Rashika, who we talked about in preseason. Sort of shout out to him getting some minutes, maybe something to look at later when they're not playing Liverpool. And boys, did you miss Crawley? I missed him.
Yeah, he's awesome.
How long has he been playing football?
Mate, forever.
Yeah, eternity.
Okay. No one really to watch there. Like, really just very much the back burner for those guys. Brighton versus Watford being our next one we want to talk about.
Yeah.
This was exciting because Brighton came back, as we said earlier, and won 2-1, which is positive, really, for them.
Definitely.
And then we had Watford, even more positive, beating fucking Aston Villa 3-2. What the fuck? What the hell?
This could be a spicy round 2 already. Fixture from two surprising teams. But I guess as we dive into Brighton themselves, the fact that they came back is a good sign, I guess, from what we saw last year, where they just failed to convert and to win games. They didn't have that killer instinct in them. So I'm looking forward to seeing more of that coming forward, and a big shout out to the subs who pretty much turned it around for them. Like, one sub, McAllister came on and scored, and the other sub, Moda, assisted Morpay's goal. So, and 2 goals in about 6 minutes or so.
That was nice. It was positive because I think we definitely saw a lack of finishing from them last season, and if we thought that if they could manage to finish better, they could be quite a decent team based off some of their other statistics. So,
yeah,
I think if they can just manage to get that extra finish in, be very promising.
Definitely.
Okay, let's move straight on from Brighton. Let's talk about Watford because they got 3 goals against Aston Villa.
Yeah, this is a team I'm a bit more interested in for fantasy purposes. Brighton I'd want to see a bit more from before we dive into this, but for me, like, that was amazing going 3-0 up so quickly. We spoke before about all 3 goals look very similar, like catching Villa out on the kind of counter-attack or open play type running at them goals. But
it was surprising because they were very defensively set last season. I think we gave some statistics on that. They were
in the championship.
Defensive.
Yeah,
in the championship, they were super defensive. That was their thing,
Yeah.
And I think
I think that they're really going to I think they're really going to surprise people this year because, obviously we know that their defense is really good, but they actually look like they're quite good going forward, even if it's just been, the stats on the counter-attack style goals. But they have signed some players that I'm really interested in seeing what they do. Like Dennis with a goal and assist, he looks like really, really nice, and linking up with Salah, which we know that he's going to be a good pickup long term, I think, with Watford.
Yeah.
And obviously that 3rd goal as well from Chuko was awesome.
Spicy. That was spicy. And he just came on. I mean, he looks up for it. Little Colombian, isn't he? Yeah, I think so, man. My only worry is that I really didn't rate Villa's defence this game. So I'm trying not to overshadow Watford's performance just because I thought Villa were trash defending them. So I'd want to see a little bit more. I'm personally not getting too excited just yet. I just want to jump on like Brentford players in this waiver wire, not Watford just yet.
I agree. Strongly agree.
So are you jumping immediately on any Watford players, or are you just going to see for the next game?
personally, in my team, I don't have too much room to really overhaul much. I want to wait and see a bit more, and that aligns perfectly to how I'd want to wait and see Watford a bit more in the longer term.
25 points.
And I guess we've always got to go back.
Mate, it's the long game. It's a 38-week game week. It's not a sprint, mate. It's a marathon.
Yeah, for sure. And, we keep on going to go back to it's just the first week. So it's good just to get a little bit more, statistics on the overwhelming performance of the team. So I'm definitely keeping my eye on them.
Let's wait and see, because after Brighton, they've got Spurs, but then they have Wolves, Norwich, Newcastle. So that could be a time to jump.
Yeah. Okay. Now, Southampton versus Man United. Southampton lost 3-1 to Everton. And Man United, as we all know, won 5-1 against Leeds. How painful.
Man, I think we can just give some solid minutes to Man U here.
Yeah. I can't believe you boys don't want to give a shout out to Armstrong. He's your boy. You're always fucking talking about him. He never does anything in fantasy. And now you don't want to talk about it.
Mate, it's a different Armstrong.
It's a different one, mate.
Are you serious?
A new sign. Yeah, but
it's a copy and bad paste of Ings. I feel like he looks like his lookalike.
That's hilarious. I had no idea. I just saw Armstrong on the score sheet. I'm just like, oh, okay. Because I'm not fucking watching a Southampton game, that's for sure.
I'm surprised you didn't think it was Danny Ings, mate. That's what
take it easy.
But yeah,
okay.
Good finish from a bad mistake. But not too much to say about Southampton for me outside of that.
Okay. Let's look at United.
They're going to have to do a lot. Yeah.
Now, first thing, the starting lineup was quite interesting. Greenwood playing up front until, I guess, Rashi returns or Cavani. Yeah. So that was a bit interesting. No start for Sancho. Daniel James in the starting lineup, which I thought was interesting. But, this seems like a kind of they're waiting until a couple of players are fit and ready.
Yeah, easing them in. And they did this last year too. They started hard. Didn't they beat Chelsea 4-0 started last season? Came out firing.
Fuck, don't I have a mute?
Was that the season before?
Was that the season before? I don't know, man. Years go by so quickly. I don't know.
That was a bullshit result. Don't bring that up, Peter. We've already discussed off podcast, so we're not allowed to talk about Chelsea too much. And then you bring that up.
Mate, not when I'm having a dig at them. That's fine. Endless minutes.
Okay, let's get back to United.
I agree with you, man. Yeah, a few surprises, but I think we had a little interesting eye on Greenwood, which could pay off in the short term, even if someone else drops out. He could fill in a wide spot till Rashi comes back, moving back from the forwards. But the big shout outs are obviously Bruno and Pogba this week, hey, for fantasy points. Like Bruno with a hattie.
That volley, man. That volley.
Oh, that volley was so good, man. It's got to be a contender for the old. Oh yeah.
Oh, baby. There it is.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Playing it twice.
Yeah.
Mate, half of it though has to go to Lindelof for the credit of the ball. That ball from him from deep was beautiful. For me,
I wouldn't pick him up anytime soon because...
No, I wouldn't, but that just was spicy.
Because Rafael Varane got signed officially.
Yeah, it's official now.
Yeah.
He's been I swear to God, he's been official for like 10 weeks. I tried to pick him up in our draft, not even fucking knowing.
Yeah, I know. It took their time.
It was brutal. When someone told me, he's like, he hasn't been signed yet. I'm like, what? He's been signed for weeks. Yeah. But anyway, he's here now. He was at the game.
Yeah.
But anyway, that should shore up their defense. Maybe that Ayling goal doesn't go in, but you never know. Bruno hat-trick was obviously huge, but yeah, those assists from Pogba were amazing. He played a bit higher up the pitch, but it seemed like a lot of those balls, or at least two of his assists, were from deep. And they were juicy. Yeah. That ball in over the top for Bruno. And then there was another one. It was a quick pass off.
The Greenwood assist.
Oh, fucking hell. I mean, Greenwood did well, but...
Yeah, the weight on that pass.
Oh, man, it was spicy. Would you guys have confidence in that form carrying a little bit over a few game weeks? Like, would you think people would be jumping on it too?
Look, I think a lot of people are going to be jumping on him. I think that it's pretty much a no-brainer for first waiver wire pick. I don't think that it will go to anyone else besides Pogba, just because of the potential that he has. And we've seen it in past seasons. And with an attacking team like United, what they've put together with this transfer window, not let alone the players that they already had, Pogba really could be a massive differential. And I actually think it's pretty bad from our whole draft that no one just picked him up as their fifth mid.
I guess so, but
that's pretty embarrassing.
He beat his previous season's assist in that game. He got 3 assists last season. Fuck me. And he looked like he was out the door. I just think that...
Yeah.
I just think that no one can be blamed for that. I think people actually drafted well for a change without taking a fucking risk on him.
Yeah.
But that being said, I thought he looks up for it this year. And not just in that game. He's got his old hairstyle back, his little stripe down the side. And he's
got it back, yeah.
I'm just thinking he's going back to his roots and he's going to, I don't know. There's something about Poggy. He looked pretty happy playing the other day. So hopefully that keeps going.
For sure.
Okay. I want to talk about Wolves versus Tottenham.
Let's do it.
Wolves lost 1-0 to Leicester, and Tottenham beat City 1-0. Huge.
Yeah.
I don't think I need to spend much time on Wolves here. I'm seeing... Honestly, one of my favourite moments of that game for them was Traore just going beast mode and just driving through everyone, and you just go, fuck me, he looks amazing when he does that. And then the finish was terrible.
If he could finish, he would literally be like a 60, 70 mil player. He's such a tank and he's so quick, but he just can't finish for shit. I want him to finish because he looks like a good bloke as well,
Does he?
Yeah, he's a beast. I would be.
Speaking of good blokes, I'm here. No,
it's good to have him back, eh?
Yeah, not about yourself.
Jimenez,
Jimmy.
man.
Good to see Jimmy back.
Him. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
No, I like that. I mean, I didn't see much from him in that game, and I didn't expect to. But look, if we see something over the next couple of weeks, I'm sure he got picked up in most drafts. But there could be something there. Let's move on to Tottenham. How about that lineup? Quite similar to preseason.
Yeah, I think it's going to really work well for Tottenham. I think Nuno might be the perfect manager for them, just to shore up that defence, because he is a little bit more defensive than other managers. But he also has a really great way of working his attack, and especially in training, I've been hearing. So, if they do lose Kane, and even if they don't sign another striker, I think that Nuno will be able to work with what he's got. Son up front, it's just where he wants to play. He always wanted to be in that position, but happy to work with whatever he's got. But, with Mora, Ali and Bergwijn, Son could really excel.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
Bergwijn didn't look great to me. I thought his finish was horrendous for his chance to seal the game up 2-0.
I agree. But going forward, he's exactly what
he looked good.
And he does have competition coming from Brian Gil, but I don't know. He's got that pace, Bergwijn, and that might be enough to seal a spot if Kane leaves. I don't know. Maybe I'm a bit optimistic there, and that might not be the final formation they go with. They may end up putting 5 at the back and then relying more on wing backs for the counter, but. For right now, I'd be very interested in Bergwijn after that showing, and I don't think he's in many fantasy teams.
No, I don't think he would be either. And sorry, I don't want to.
I don't know. I wouldn't be as keen on him. That just my
as a fifth
view.
Mid punt, why?
Maybe
not?
there's more. I just think there's more out there, man. I think the people we've spoken about, like the Brentford players, and even
not all of us are in 7th. Some of us have to pick after 6 or 7 people go, and we still need to look at people like. Bergwijn.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know, man.
We don't have the luxury of being near last.
Well, maybe you should, tank a few rounds, then you'll get a taste.
No thanks.
I love that. I love that because when you tank, you actually have to leave your best players on your bench. And when you look at your bench, they all aren't your best players. So that's just cute. That's
Yeah,
cute.
I know. Wouldn't it be nice?
Hey, before we move on from Tottenham, I do want to shout out their defense because to play against City, obviously, it's a massive ask. And, Dier, Reguilon, Tanganga, and Sanchez did an awesome job keeping them out. And, if they're available in your draft and you've got a spot as, a fourth or fifth defender, you got to jump on him because Nuno is defense. He's kind of earned that role.
Can I flag something there, though, Milo? Because for me, I think one to watch out for, and I was going to mention this, is actually probably Dyer. Dyer will more than likely lose his spot unless they move to a 5 at the back setup. But they've got a new boy.
Really?
Yeah, because they've got a new boy.
Oh, yeah, they signed someone.
I
forgot about that, boys.
But it was... But is it Dyer or Dyer?
Romero,
according to Marley G.
Dyer.
I didn't realize he was not from. Is a white guy from England.
Yeah,
it's
look,
Dior.
Yeah, Dior.
Yeah.
Okay, so Christian Romero is probably his likely replacement, unless Nuno switches formation. But they spend a bit of money on him, and he looks like a threat. So I just think he probably will lose his spot. So I didn't want to send anyone, too early on Dyer. Considering Romero even got minutes this game, it must mean that he's coming in soon.
Yeah,
so
we'll see. We know Nuno likes a 5 though, so we'll see.
Yeah, there is that, and with a little bit of an injury, we know that Dier can actually play in the midfield as well. So he could be a bit of an out of position punt for later in the season.
And with just the last minute thing to say, they've got a good run of fixtures here. They've got Wolves, Watford, and Crystal Palace coming up. If Bergwijn gets any run, this is it. This is when he's going to have his chance. So, just saying.
Yeah.
All right. Arsenal versus Chelsea. Ooh, yes.
Well, I think we know the clear winners of this game.
Yeah. Sorry, Miles.
You're a fucking prick. I will talk about Arsenal, just to get the ball rolling, and then I'll flick it over to you for a bit of Chelsea chat. But, I think Arsenal really, really missed Lacazette and Aubameyang going forward. You could just tell they just didn't have that clinical goal scorer in the front of goal. Smith Rowe looked okay. Still needs someone ahead of him, so it will be interesting when those strikers come back.
As an owner, not excited about him.
Yeah, I wouldn't be too excited, but I'll have to say that the best look for Arsenal into fantasy points, I've got to put it up to Tierney. He had some really good stats from this game. I'm not sure if you guys caught it, but he had 11 cross attempts. He entered the penalty box 10 times, and he created 6 chances. So, we have seen it in the past that he can put up those massive double-digit hauls.
I did see that.
If he's available, I think that he would be a really, really good punt.
Yeah, I like that. Because they have spent money on their defense this year, and if Ben White turns out to be okay, because he's only been there, a couple of weeks, if they manage to get that down and they can keep a few clean sheets and solidify the defense up at least, maybe a good option. Now, can I just get on to Chelsea, man?
Just
Arsenal.
Give us a Chelsea rant and I'll join in later.
Oh, just join me. Okay, so in this game, we got starts from Alonso, Chalobah, Werner and Pulisic, probably being the main names because there's been so many question marks about Chelsea as to who may start. Miles, a shout out to you, mate. Great pickup of Alonso. If you picked up Chalobah as well, I would have been just on my knees praising you, but you're not that good.
I tried. I definitely tried. I didn't think that Bobby would pick him up at that point, but it's okay.
Did Bobby get him?
Yeah, I think Bobby's got Chile. Yeah.
No.
No, I'm talking about Chaloba, not Chile.
Oh, Chalobah. Sorry, I don't call him Chaloba.
I'm sorry. Well, I call him by his actual name.
Yeah.
And
So-
also, it's Zoom as well. I didn't exactly hear. I just heard the chip.
No.
It's okay. It's okay.
It seems Palace were pretty keen to get his name in the headlights because they did not go anywhere near him when he had that ball.
Oh my God. Well,
They
he
just
skipped
stood off
ahead
him.
here in the story, but, Chaloba. Fucking ball boy to...
Goal
what
scorer.
a debut. What a fucking debut in the Premier.
Massive.
Brought a tear to his eye.
He played excellently. He played so well in the Super Cup. He's played well all preseason. He played well in that game. I don't know what they're going to do with him. If they send him out on loan, that'll be kind of disappointing because he's been so good in that position. And that was such a nice goal too.
Mate, that doesn't stick well with the Chelsea story, though. Like a promising young talent, and just to keep him, that just doesn't sound right. He's got to go out on loan and then be forgotten about for the next 10 years.
We've already balanced that out by selling Tammy. Haven't we sold him?
Yeah, it's a Roma.
Yeah, it looks like it's done. Yeah.
What's he? Yeah, look, with a buyback though. Did you see that?
Yeah. They learn from their mistakes finally.
So now let's not talk about Tammy too much because there's no fantasy options there. But Pulisic with a start and a goal, nothing special there. But he did look lively and has looked lively all preseason. I don't know how much longer he's got in the squad though. Now that Lukaku's here, I think there's going to be.
That's the hard thing, man. There's just still so many question marks even after one game. And it's people are crazy, wanting to jump on Pooley. Who knows what's going to happen in 3 game weeks?
Don't jump on Purely. Don't jump on Purely. I would say that straight out. That'd be
with Chelsea. We've got to actually look at Chelsea for FPL reasons in the same way that we look at City. I mean, their squad is just getting so deep that there's going to be a lot of rotation, and it's going to be hard to pick besides a couple of main players like, Mason Mount, and probably Lukaku will be playing most of the fixtures. It's going to be between, Pulisic, Werner and Havertz that are probably going to be most highly rotated for FPL reasons.
And I think they're going to be deployed strategically, like, how Pep does it.
Exactly.
For example, Alonso, if he stays... I was talking with Miles about this, but, Alonso isn't amazing defensively, but if we have to break down a defence, i.e. Crystal Palace, you want him on because he's got 22 goals in his time at Chelsea, which is crazy numbers.
So that's more for your strategic waiver wires, just for the purely fixture focus with a bit of a risk if you've actually read it right.
Exactly, and Miles and I were discussing this, and we just think that actually he's quite an easy player to pick when he may start, and he's so prolific that if you can either keep him on your bench in your team and try and pick when he's going to play, or bring him in.
Just play him and get the auto sub.
Exactly.
Yeah. Just play for auto sub.
Chile's not nailed on, and Alonso is such a good goal scorer.
Yeah.
Honestly, Miles, I would be keeping him in your team,
mate. Oh, especially when the keeper doesn't even move. He's going to score all the time.
Oh,
and that's the next point. That's what I wanted to bring up because Chelsea don't really have many dead ball strikers, especially as good as Alonso. And I think that's really, really key in the Premier League to have someone on that dead ball, especially from that side. So I wouldn't be surprised if Alonso plays more games than he did last year. But yeah, Chilwell will definitely be in the team when we're playing, teams that, we need to be more defensively on.
Yeah. Okay, so, and I think the last thing I would just mention with that is Lukaku looks likely to start against Arsenal. I've heard a bunch of stuff saying he probably will be ready.
Yeah.
So
what a team to get your first Hattie against.
Oh, fuck me, dude. That would be classic Drogs. Man, Drogs love scoring against Arsenal. If fucking Lukaku comes in and spanks a few against the old arse, I'm already frothing. All right, boys, we'll save that until next pod. But, okay, next one we got to talk about, our last one for this week is West Ham versus Leicester.
Yeah.
Few goals here.
Spicy.
One-sided on the West Ham side of 4-2 coming back from 2-0 down. Am I right?
Yes.
I
Like
think it
2-0
was a
down?
bit more. I think it
Or
was
was it back and
1-1,
forth?
and then I think it was a bit more back and forth than that.
Oh, yeah, it went 2-1, 2-2. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
correct.
I'm getting it confused with the Brighton game. Anyway, and then also Leicester 1-0 against Wolves.
Yeah.
So, okay, West Ham. Fuck, they look good.
I watched that whole game, and West Ham looked so good. Who needs Lingard when you got Ben Rama?
Man.
Like, I've been reading so much about him, and he looks the shit. He's creative.
He looked so good pre-season too, man. And when you spoke about your pickup late of him in our hangover the other day from our draft, I was like, yeah, I wanted him too, but he was just one of those question marks for my fifth mid of do I risk it or not? And I just went with something else. But that was, one I now look back on and go, that's got some
I did
legs.
so much fucking research and his name barely even came up. I don't know how I missed it, but I'm annoyed I missed it. Well done.
Yeah,
Miles.
the pre-season form just from West Ham generally and him has carried over for sure into this fixture. They look spice. Like, get lots of different goal scorers, Cresswell, Benrahma, Antonio, Souček. There's some fantasy gold there, spread around.
And they just look like nothing's changed. They look so solid. I mean, most of their players have had a pretty good off-season compared to some of the big teams.
For sure.
So, I don't know. Like, we were looking at Aston Villa, who was another team that had a good run, but less preseason time. If you compare those two, I mean, West Ham was obviously the better of the two last season, but it looks like they're set to continue that form.
Yeah.
For sure. And can I just give a quick mention? That Antonio pen has probably got to be one of the worst pens I've seen in a while.
Dude, why was he looking at the ref for ages? He's looking at the ref, just waiting. And then ref blows the whistle and he's like, boom, turns his head and goes to the... I'm like, dude, what the fuck?
He's not playing keeper games, but he played his own game.
Yeah, he definitely played himself, but he made up for it with creating one and then scoring one himself. And he did have quite a few other chances. He banged against the post and then it ricocheted and almost hit him in the head. Like, that was hilarious.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I know.
Dude, I'm like so dead. If he's not fucking injured all season again, I'm going to be really gutted because I had the opportunity to pick him up in the draft and I got that kind of season before haunting of him. And I was like, it was so tough for me last season. I just couldn't pick him up for that reason. But yeah, I mean, if he goes ballistic, which I mean, he could, I'm going to be really upset. So
fingers crossed.
How good is Moisey jumping?
Oh yeah.
You guys see that?
He loves it.
I reckon he cleared the ground by maybe 3 centimeters. Why
probably not even
jump?
that.
That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, probably not even that.
Okay, Leicester. Now, this was only 1-0, but, there's a few talking points here.
Oh, mate, the main talking point.
Go out the season.
Oh, fuck, there's been 3 in this app. 3 in this app. That seems excessive use, mate.
Mate, I'm just keen. I just had to wait all off season. I'm just keen to get it going again.
I can't believe you're that excited for that after, you picked up Bamford instead of Vardy. Bamford didn't score. Vardy has scored a worldie. What are you feeling?
He has. I'm okay, mate. I'm playing the long game there. This fantasy and, my own team and this pod is a different story. So,
mate, you keep saying you're playing the long game, but do you mean including last season as well?
Yeah.
Is it just
that's how it works. It's cumulative, isn't it?
Is the long game maybe in 6 years I'll win?
Mate, the long game of life,
You're not.
Mate, he does it for the pod. Come on. He knows that the pod needs a whipping boy, like a squeak, or something, just to make those pickups.
I've got 4 other leagues,
You traitor. Fuck you. Okay, let's talk about that. Pereira with an assist. Someone we've talked about a lot before.
Yeah, working hard for that.
Yeah, nice ball in. But honestly, he did nothing compared to fucking Vardy.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
I don't know how that went in.
Yeah. I think it's fluky, but it's still skillful. I'm blown away by it.
Me too.
I've got some stats here. You want to hear some stats?
Do it.
Oh, always.
I've got Harvey Barnes stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Harvey Barnes took just one shot in the box and created 0 chances against Wolves. Now, another follow-up to that, Leicester also switched to a 3-5-2 setup later in the game, which for me concerns me about Barnes' security in the starting lineup for the next match, because for me, if they go to 3-5-2, I think Kelechi's looking like a good option. What do you guys think?
Yeah,
sure.
Well, man, the way their defense responded to that formation, I don't know if they'll stick with it. They looked so out of place in that game. If they had another team they were versing, I think that could put it away. I think they would have really suffered there and lost that game. So for their sake, I don't think they should stick with it, but we'll see.
Yeah, fair enough.
It was a winning strategy for them, at the end of last season. So I wouldn't be surprised if he does implement them against teams similar to Wolves, bottom 10. But yeah, against the top teams, I think that Rodgers will be playing just Vardy, especially for the start of the game. Kelechi will be rotated with Barnes all season. Okay. You heard it here first.
No, and you heard me agreeing with it here first as well. I think that's a good note to wrap it up, boys.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
Mate, that was a fun first game week. Fucking
lots of action.
Lots of goals, no draws. That's exactly what we want as fantasy players.
Yep.
That's
Definitely.
All right. Well, if anyone has any questions about anything we've said, FPL Draft Boyz, you can find us on Insta, Twitter, anywhere else that Hito spends his social media time. You can even message him privately if you like. I'll tweet his private details and phone number and the Twitter.
Yeah, 100%. And also hit us up on Instagram. I've been getting quite a few people sending some waiver wire advice to me, and I'm really happy to give it and, just give some really balanced opinions on your team. So flick me through a picture of your team and who is available in the waiver wire, and I'll make sure I jump on that and give you some good advice.
And if it happens enough, we'll start, addressing that in pod. So
yeah,
listen out.